Hello, everybody. How are you doing? It is Sunday. I am out in the shop, and I haven't been out in the shop a lot lately. I've been very, very busy with the stage crew. The whole crew has been working really, really hard to get ready for our performing choir, our first performance. Now, really excited. We have our first home performance, debut to show everybody here locally what we can do, and then we're going to go up to Indianapolis, and that is where we'll have our first competition next Saturday. I've been asked to make four more of the hitch pins, the pointed hitch pins I made. The ones I made for the trusses were great, but we want a couple of spares just in case one gets broken or bent or lost or whatever. So we want to have a couple spares. You always want to have a couple spares. That, and I'm working on an idea I have, a spacer to fix another little issue that came up. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to give anything from the show away until we actually hit the stage and do the performance. But I'm going to work on something else today. May or may not show it. It's not going to be all that interesting, but it's just going to be a spacer. So we'll see what happens. And then beyond that, I don't know what I'll get into, but I do have the old heater going. It is cold as heck out here. So wish me luck. Hopefully it warms up quick and we'll have a good day in the shop. I got something I want to show you guys. It is brand new to the shop and I'm super excited about it. It just came in and I'm ready to start using it. But let me show you, let me give you a little precursor first. When I bought my collet chuck, you can see there's a spring collet inside of the chuck. It came with 5 collets, not this one. This one I bought separately. This is a 1920 millimeter, and I use this when I turn 3/4 inch rods. It's a good size for grabbing those rods. But the other 4 and the one in the chuck actually came with it. And the issue is I'm very limited to the size of material that I can turn. So I bought a set of 25 spring collets, E32 spring collets. They are 1/32 of an inch apart all the way up. And it looks like the top one there is 3/4 of an inch. And I can't remember what the smallest one is, but it's just got like a pinhole in there. So these just came in. I just pulled them out of the box. I'm super excited to have these because they're going to allow me to grab almost any diameter rod that I need to be able to turn it on my lathe with my collet chuck. All right, guys, I've been out here for about an hour and a half. I've got one of the hitch pins turned down. Really happy about that. Let me show you the spacer. Nothing too fancy. It's just a piece of maple, drilled a 7mm hole up the center, which fits perfectly on an unturned hitch pin. I threw some CA on it just to kind of protect it, and we'll be able to cut it to the proper length, and this is going to be perfect for the apparatus we made. I have a good feeling about this. I'll keep you guys posted once it debuts. That's it for me for just a little while. I'm going to take my son. We're going to go see a movie. And when I come back from the movie, I'll be back out here in the shop, and hopefully I get the other 3 hitch pins turned, and maybe I get into a little more trouble and find something else to do. I'll keep you guys posted. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Well, guys, I got all 4 of the hitch pins turned down, and they're ready to go. And here's the other piece I made. It's super simple. I got a 7mm hole down the center, and it's just a piece of maple. And we will actually use this little saw to cut sections off of it. And I think it's going to do the trick. I tell you, I've had a good day in the shop. I enjoyed my little break. The movie was really good. I think I'm just going to goof around for a while. I will let you guys know if I come up with anything, but I think I'm just going to go to my lathe and just fiddle around with my grip again, the grip piece I was using or making. It looks pretty good. I got some great tips on how to stop it from sticking. And what I would like to do is begin making another grip and apply some of those tips and see if I can find one that actually does the trick. So I'll keep you guys posted. I've got a Delrin blank on the lathe. It looks kind of wild right there because the blank started out square and I'm trimming all of the square edges off and making it round. And what I'm going to do with this Delrin blank is when I'm finished, I'll drill a hole right up the middle and then I'll be able to face it off and cut sections off that I can put between my cap and the mandrel, my body of my pin and a mandrel. This will just go between the mandrel and whatever part I'm turning to help me keep from locking it into the mandrel. So right now I can feel it. It's a little bit, still got a couple square corners on it. Let's stop and take a look. Yeah, you can see right there I got a square corner there and a square corner there. But I'll go ahead, make a few more passes, and I'll clean that up. And before you know it, I'll have a perfect blank that I can make all of my little separators out of. Now I have 2 perfectly true Delrin rods. I can toss these into the proper size collet. I can drill a hole right down the center and start parting off little sections at a time to make spacers between my mandrel and whatever part I happen to be turning. Real happy about this. I think this is going to really be a game changer for keeping my parts from sticking to the mandrel. That Delrin machined so nicely. I mean, I did make a little bit of a mess knocking the corners off of it. Once I got it round, it was incredible to machine. I had, a while back, made a little cutter that, it reminds me of a Badan tool, if you know what a Badan tool is. It's just mine is probably, 3/8 of an inch wide maybe, and it's probably 3/8 of an inch thick, and it's got like a 45-degree angle cut on the bottom of the tool, so it's just a blade. And well, as a matter of fact, I'll just show you. Let me find it here. Here it is. See how that is? That's what I'm talking about. And basically, I used that on the Delrin with the tool post holder, the top of the lathe. I would just take it in just ever so slightly to where it made contact, and then I would just run the tool carriage down the lathe, and it just cleaned off, just peeled off the nicest little layer. And it's going to really, this stuff is nice because I was trying to use a while back, you remember, I don't even know what I did with it now. I had the acrylic, and I was trying to use that, but the problem is the acrylic, it shatters, it'll break if you get a catch. This Delrin won't, so it's not going to break on me. And now that I've got it perfectly true, which that part's not as important, but I'll part the end, use a parting tool, and I'll true the end of it up to make sure the end is perfectly flat, and then I'll come back and just move back, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch and just cut a little sliver off, and that will give me a really nice square spacer, flat on both sides, that I can put between the pieces, and I think that's really gonna help. I'm just playing at this point. I'm not really doing anything important out here. I think I am going to take a few minutes though and clean up, because let me show you this lathe table. Here's a look at it from the back side. I've got just Delrin and aluminum everywhere from where I've been working. Or actually, I think that's zinc is what those hitch pins were made of. But I've just got a mess, and I need to go ahead and get this cleaned up. So I think that's what I'm going to work on for the next few minutes. Well, I did a little cleaning. I'm happy with how it looks. I went ahead and wiped down all the garbage off the ways, and I oiled them up with some really good oil. I removed this tool post holder, and you can see I took a brass wheel and I just went along here. This was kind of a little layer of rust on there. It was kind of hard to see, and I'm getting where I'm using, as I try to get more accurate, I'm using this more and more, so I cleaned it up really well. I also cleaned up my dial here. You can now very clearly see all of the markings. I cleaned up this dial. It's relatively pitted. At least I can see the 0, and then I can kind of, there's 10, 20, 30. I can kind of counter. Actually, I'm going in reverse, so that's 90, 80, 70. But everything's kind of cleaned up, and behind there, I just used the vacuum, got everything taken off the table that was laying around. I'm glad to have it cleaned up. I think what I'm going to have to do here fairly soon is I need to just have a day where I clean my tools. My lathe, I know you guys have watched some of my past videos. You'll know that the ways on my wood lathe have a little bit of rust here and there on them, just light surface stuff. I need to get that off. I want to go ahead and do my table saw top. It's been about a year since I've done anything with it, but I want to get it nice and cleaned up, and I want to put wax on both of them, just to maintain them. I think I'm going to have to take a day and do that because it's just not, I don't know, it's not going to do itself. You got to do something. I noticed something today on my Wolverine, or not my Wolverine, on my Rikon grinder. I've got the 200 grit CBN wheel that I use all the time for sharpening my tools, and it seems to be balanced fairly well. But I was using the 80 grit wheel, and it's a little wobbly. I was trying to shape, well, let me show you what I was doing. Let me go here and get the other. See the end of that rod, how it's flat? This is how they come with the lathe. They've got that little piece on the end of there, and you're supposed to be able to use that to put it into the headstock of the lathe and grip it while you turn to get like a chuck or something off. But it's such cheapy material that it just bends, so I don't ever use them for that. This one I've been using on my metal lathe. This one I use on the headstock of my metal lathe, and I use it to knock things like my Jacob's chuck out of the lathe. So that's really about it for me tonight. I've had a good day in the shop. I've got a few things done that I needed to get done, but there's nothing else that I need to do tonight. There's a lot of things I want to do, but it's getting late and I do have to go to work tomorrow, and I want to edit this video and I want to relax a little bit, and just while the evening winds down. So I'm going to call it quits. I'm hoping this week I may get back out in the shop one day and be able to maybe start working on these grips again. I really want to try some of that Delrin, and I think it's going to work. A couple of you guys suggested it. So we'll see what happens. You guys have a great evening. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you again very, very soon.